I'm so glad you chose for all of us to remember him on this particular day. Carrie and I were born exactly 5 years and 11 months apart. I was born on May 27th, and so every June 27th, it was an easy day for me to remember it. Even when I was young, I would wake up and think, it's Carrie's birthday. And I've thought that most of my life, every June 27th, even when I wasn't able to wish Carrie happy birthday. I will continue to do that probably for the rest of my life. And I find it fitting that Carrie chose to have some of himself interred here close to where he lived until he married, and again later in his life. As I think most of you, if not all of you, know, my family, Joel and Stuart and I, and my parents lived upstairs, and Carrie and my Aunt Sarah and Uncle Joe lived on the first floor at 5311 Kimball, just to the southwest of here, a building purchased in 1945 by our grandfather, Sam Orlov. And it occurred to me that we're under a grove of catalpa trees, which were trees that actually grew in front of that house on Kimball for years, until the city, not that many years ago, tore them down and replaced them with sycamores. But I grew up with catalpas. They were annoying trees because they dropped those little orchid-like flowers in the spring, but they were pretty until they dropped, and then they had what we called, and I'm sure it's not politically appropriate, Indian cigars that we would pretend to smoke. But to some degree, despite our 6-year difference in age, Carrie and I got older together at that 2-flat on Kimball. And by the time I have real memories, of course, Carrie was already of middle school age. And so I mostly recall moments when I was in high school and Carrie was working or was attending Roosevelt University or working as a social worker in Logan Square long before it was considered a hip neighborhood. It was a little bit of a dicey neighborhood, and he was there doing his work as a social worker. I remember his playing country western music, as we called it then. I think today we just say country. And he introduced me to Ernest Tubbs and his Texas Troubadours, and today I still occasionally find myself breaking into a few bars of I'm Walking the Floor Over You. And Kinky Friedman was another favorite. He introduced me to Kinky. And he played for me, I remember vividly, playing the classic, Get Your Biscuits in Your Oven and Your Buns in Bed. Not exactly a feminist anthem, but he loved it. And speaking of walking, I remember a memorable day in the winter when Carrie and Stuart and I and a few other guys played a pickup basketball game in some field house somewhere northeast of our house. It was cold and snowy. I went to the gym in my street shoes, and I changed into my high tops in the locker room. And after the game, I returned to the locker room to get my coat and to change shoes, only find that somebody had swiped my street shoes. And I was grumbling all the way back to the cars in the snow, and I had my sweaty high tops on. I was freezing. And we got in the car. Carrie turns on the radio, and the song that pops on the radio was Walk a Mile in My Shoes. I can still hear Carrie's penetrating laugh to this day. He thought that was the funniest thing ever. It was the same explosive laugh that he let go after he lured me into his Hertz donut routine. Hey Fred, you want a Hertz donut? What's a Hertz donut? Wham! Hertz donut? He taught me to be more careful about falling into traps. And there are memories of Carrie driving me and my date to dinner before my junior prom, and of an infamous trip with Bruce Dickman to Volo Bog, which concluded with a ride and dinner on the pontoon boat being somewhat of an overstatement. Carrie brought his rabbit Jethro on the ride over there. The rabbit promptly peed in my lap. But I won't say I eventually got even with Carrie, although for years Stuart and I shared a bedroom right off the dining room, and any of you who have been in that apartment on Kimball know what I mean. The room was directly over Carrie's bedroom downstairs. Our room was not really very big for two people sleeping there, and we slept in a trundle bed, you know, the kind where you pull up on the bar on one side and the bed pushes down and slides under the other. And I slept on the side that slides under. And often I would go to the bathroom, I would brush my teeth and get ready for bed. Stuart was already in the room. I would come in the room as a young kid, flying in onto my bed. Stuart had picked up lifted up the metal bar unbeknownst to me, and I would slam the bed down to the floor. And one day we heard a commotion downstairs. Carrie was yelling, but we couldn't make out what he was saying. So we went downstairs and we found him standing outside of his bedroom, which looked like a white fog. There were particles of plaster dust floating in the air. Larger chunks of his ceiling covered every surface of the room, and the collapsing trundle bed finally did him in. I don't know if that was poetic justice or what, but they were not happy campers. And I look back, I realized that not everyone was as lucky as I was to have a cool older cousin living in the same building. And later in my life, as I got to know you, Lisa, I came to understand what a good and loving father he was. I do know those final years were tough ones. And I hope with time, with all we can appreciate what a fine and caring person we had in Carrie Greenspan, may his memory be for a blessing. Amen. Excuse me.
Here's the live stream went down. We can start recording this. I can post a video. Yeah, I don't know where it went down, but I got a notice and I saw it went down. I recorded all of this and I'll upload the rest of the service.
And I have the honor of sharing with you a few additional memories that the family shared with me that you haven't heard yet today. He was a loving son to Joseph and Sarah, an only child. So maybe he was spoiled a little, maybe not. He was a wonderful grandpa to Billy and Dylan. And he really, really loved his cousins. So that was said that he was blessed. He knew how blessed he was to have the kind of relationships, Meryl, Fred, all the cousins. He really appreciated the closeness. In addition to some of the memories we heard about why Carrie loved Chicago, I'm just going to elaborate. So the Cubs games, some of us are diehard Cubs fans, and not everyone can go to the game. So for some, they find it equally as fun to be outside the field, Wrigley Field, because many balls are hit that far, and he would catch a lot of those balls, and that was fun. He really loved going to the Museum of Science and Industry, in particular of all the museums. I understand there were many family visits there. You guys have a photo traditionally taken, right, that in front of that old Ford car, and also I think hilarious memory that was shared. One year it was Hanukkah. He brought, so some of you were there, brought a menorah. I'm listening to this on our Zoom call. I'm like, wait, what? He brought a menorah into the museum, and there you are, celebrating Hanukkah, lighting the menorah. You can light a menorah in the museum, singing the blessings, singing the Hanukkah songs. I mean, who does this? Carrie. Carrie does it. One of a kind. But he just knew how to have fun. So he was a wonderful single dad. He was really fun, very adventurous. He could be stubborn at times, but he was, as you all know, free-spirited. And as Lisa said, he really had his own sense of time. He was always late, no matter what. But he was caring and he was loving. He loved not only people, but he loved dogs. He especially loved his first and favorite dog, Blackie. And I understand every dog after that, he wanted to be like Blackie or look like Blackie. In his younger years, we heard about him playing basketball, but he also played volleyball, I understand. So he enjoyed his sports, and I guess he was known to be a night owl. So, Meryl, you remember, he would call you any hour of the night here if it was late, right? And he'd call, wouldn't necessarily say hello. He would just go right into a joke and then hang up. No hello, no goodbye, just here's a joke and hang up the phone. He loved nature, loved to go on hikes, go to the concerts. He loved to entertain. So how many of you have been to at least one of his annual Halloween parties? I understand they were so much fun. He loved having his Halloween parties, and it was mandatory that you wear a costume. And I'm told he would often dress up as Moses. I'm looking at him. To me, he looks like a Santa Claus, but I don't know what the rest of him looks like. But, you know, with that beard, he could, but Moses too, especially when Moses came down the mountain after receiving the tablets. Carrie loved to travel. We heard he went to 47 states. That's a lot. And of all the states that he went to, you all know his favorite state was California. And it was his dream to live there. And his dream finally came true. Although he didn't have enough time to live there, while he lived there, he enjoyed every day soaking in the sun with the view of the mountains, being close to the wineries. I mean, for him, this is living it up. Being near his family. That was great. I think some of us believe that one's spirit, one's soul, can live on L'Dor Vador from generation to generation. We believe this can happen by those of us still here continuing to share the stories, continuing to speak about Carrie, to document your memories in a variety of ways, so that one day when Billy or Dylan, maybe you get married, you have kids of your own, they're going to know about your grandpa and how wonderful of a man he was and how much fun he was. He really loved people. He had wonderful friends dating back to high school. He was a fabulous father, and he was a loving relative and friend. I hope that you'll always remember how he lived his life on his terms, filled with adventure and fun, how he loved antiques, women, and music, all of which brought him tremendous joy. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, the memory of the righteous is forever a blessing. And to that we say, Amen. An unknown author wrote, "Shed not too many tears when I shall leave, especially you with whom I have smiled. I would not have you sorrowful or sad, but joyfully recall the glorious companionship we have had, and thank God for it all. Say not that I have died, that this is death. Say that I enjoyed each mortal breath. My life was blessed in the living. My life was blessed in the giving. Life to me was a challenge, but I was happy so to live. My life's work was well done. My life's road was well run. And my life's crown was well won. But now I need to rest." Friends, I invite you to turn back to your service folders. Underneath the 23rd Psalm, you find a prayer called El Malei Rachamim. And on the back cover, you'll find the Mourner's Kaddish, which is our concluding prayer. It is customary to rise for both of these prayers, so if you are able to stand, I invite you to please rise first for El Malei Rachamim and then the Mourner's Kaddish. El Malei Rachamim עושה מנוחה תחת כנפי השכינה. עם קדושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת קרי גרינספן שהלך לעולמו. בעל הרחמים יסתירי ובסתר כנפיך לעולמים בצרור החיים את נשמתו. אדוני הוא נחלתו וינוח בשלום על משכבו ונאמר אמן. Let us read the translation of El Malei Rachamim together. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Carrie Greenspan, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, find refuge in your eternal presence, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. We turn to the back cover where we find the mourner's Kaddish. It is said that the angels brought this prayer down from heaven. It possesses wonderful power. Truly, if there is any bond strong enough to link heaven to earth, it is this prayer. Many believe that this prayer speaks about death. We always recite it at the time of death, or the yahrzeit, the anniversary of one's death. But actually, there is no reference to death. Rather, we affirm God's glory and omnipotence. The words here are in Hebrew and in transliteration. Many find the Hebrew challenging. Some also find the transliteration challenging. So, are you still able to hear me? Yeah, I'm trying to yell. So I give you a third option. We say the word amen or amen a few times, which is a form of affirming these words and what they mean. So I'll nod my head when those times come. So minimally, if you would like to participate, at least for amen or amen, you'll know when. Let us join together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. V'yama divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imeru. Amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mivarach le'olam ulamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemei d'kudusha, barichu. Le'ela, min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran v'alma v'imeru. Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. May the author of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us. And to that we say, Amen. If you'd like to be seated, you may.
We're actually going to move the TV set here. So we were going to play this video, and the rabbi's voice broke the mic because she's.
It's so beautiful.
I'm not that powerful.
Oh, it was like the glass broke, you know.
Sorry.
So. I have an idea here. I had an idea here.
You need to lean it again so it doesn't blow up. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, so that works.
Hello?
Yeah, but maybe that will work. I don't know.
Oh, thank you. All right, just a moment. No.
While we're waiting, I'm going to explain after we watch, hopefully, the beautiful montage. For those not buried in Israel, we bring a little Israel here with this holy earth from the Mount Olives in Jerusalem, Israel. We're a small enough gathering that I will pour a little bit of this holy earth when it's time into each of your hands and place it right inside the tent. Yeah, so, okay, cool. Technology is great for you.
There's no place that I'd rather be than right here with my redneck white socks. There's no place that I'd rather be than right here with my redneck white socks and blue ribbon deer. The barmaid is mad 'cause some guy made a mess. The jukebox is playing, there stands the glass. The cigarette smoke kinda hangs in the air. Rednecks, white socks and blue
should work for a few moments. No.
It's
Go ahead.
if there's
Here, give
another.
it a try. Oh, is there more?
Yeah, there's a little bit
Oh,
more.
you tell me.
There should be another song.
Played a party last night for some old folks. They were dancing and smiling at me, except this old man alone at a table, as if there's some place that he'd rather be. So I said, sir, can I play something for you? Something special that you'd like to hear. When he looked up at me, he was smiling. Oh, but his eyes couldn't hide the tears. He said, play me the waltz of the angels, and I close my eyes and pretend. Play me the waltz of the angels, so I can dance with my angel again. He said, yes, that's the song I remember. That's the one that she loved the best. It was playing the night that I met her, and it was playing when we laid her to rest. Play me the waltz of the angels, and I'll close my eyes and pretend. Play me the waltz of the angels, so I can dance with my angel again. Let me dance with my angel again.
My grandparents could be alive for just like an hour or two now. They would never imagine. They lived in the funeral home. The most innovative thing they did is they had ice brought from them.
I'm going to show you how to make $5,000 to $20,000 flipping houses using this contract that I will give you absolutely
They would have
free.
even been impressed with that.
So after Lisa puts the photos in, I'm going to sprinkle a little of this holy earth into each of your hands. You can place it right inside. In case we need another pouch, do you have more holy earth or is this it?
I have more.
Okay, good.
Charge $50.
Put it on top. So why don't you all just come forward? That way it'll be easier. Yeah, you can just put it in.
I almost lost my sandal in Bolo Block.
Oh, God, how do you remember all this?
That was the stuff that floated to the top, I have to tell you.
Now that you're mentioning it, I remember that
It's up to him. He takes over from here. He's the boss. But I think
Sorry, can I have some dirt, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought everybody got it. You were schmoozing. Has everyone had a chance to sprinkle in some holy earth?
I was supposed to have a 3 o'clock here.
You were supposed to?
Oh, person died. They came and made all the funeral arrangements. Yeah, I know. They got a bunch of funeral arrangements.
Oh, yeah?
I worked with Die Card. That's nice. Yeah. Well, it's perfect. It's got Kimball, it's got the Chicago flag, it's got vexillology.
You look so different without the beard. I know you didn't know it was really bad. Because I've never been without the
The idea to go, everyone to go straight from the white fence. Everybody's going to take at least an hour. Yeah, to the live stream, yeah. Did you? It's a good thing you told us. It's supposed to be, because we did too, even though we had. I don't do them.